Hello, everyone, and welcome, welcome, welcome. On behalf of my partner, Judy Keating, and myself, Bonnie Salamon, we welcome you to Wise Transformation. And today we are going to celebrate with ceremony Samhain, one of the most sacred and beautiful days of the year. And it's actually a season, really. Samhain does represent so many, many things. And at this time of year, there's a lot of names that are being called. Of course, we all know about Halloween, but the Day of the Dead is celebrated at that time. It's also All Saints Day. It's Hollow Mass. There's just so many different cultural celebrations and ceremonies around this time of the year. And it's worldwide. I think there are many traditions and faiths who take this time, especially, to honor the dead, to elevate them, to bring them forward for us to honor again. Sometimes we get so busy with our lives that we don't often think about those who came before. And this is a time to step back, step out of your normal day to day, and to celebrate ancestors, whether they are familial ancestors that came from your bloodline, whether they're spiritual ancestors, and that's another category that we think of often. Our spiritual ancestors are those who may not be related by blood, but who have shared their messages with you. Someone like Maya Angelou, someone way back like Lao Tzu. There are so many spiritual teachers that we've had in our lives, and some of them may have been very in your community or not. They may have been on a national stage, or they may have been on a worldwide stage. And so we hold them close as well on this day. And I want you to just be aware and look back on all the people who have supported you who may no longer be here. Honoring them, lighting a candle, having a special meal, sharing conversation with a close friend. All of these things can heighten this day's celebration. So just want to make everyone aware. And I'm hoping that after you have shared in this celebration, this ceremony with us, that you will take some time to sit in silence and honor those people, those individuals, those teachings that have brought you to be where you are today. That's something we always want to be mindful of, but at this season of the year particularly. Samhain represents the end of the harvest, and our growing season is complete. So, back when at Imbolc, we started planting the seeds and we went through the growing season and we began harvesting. We've been harvesting for quite a while. Some of us began our harvest in the summer, some of us in early autumn, and some of us on into this season of the year. Well, we've been really busy doing all of that. And Mary, I hope you don't mind me pointing you out, but Mary Ursitz is a great example of someone who harvests for several seasons every year with her planting and her growing season. So Mary, it's just a real pleasure to have you with us.
Thank you so much. The last thing I just finished making was pepper jelly.
Ah,
I picked everything before the frost, so that's it for the blessings that part of the garden gave me.
oh, that's awesome. Thank you for sharing that. Kind of put you on the spot there.
That's okay. I don't mind one bit.
So, this is the time when we begin to really take a step back. We're honoring those who have gone before, and we're really beginning to create some space within ourselves. We've done the work, we've done the hard part of the journey in this year of the growing season. We've been faced with challenges along the way, both in community, in our country, in the world. And now we're going to step back and we're going to make some room within ourselves to begin to create a new vision, to begin to hold forth what we want to see happen. And this is a slow process, and that's why we have really quite a number of months to begin to do this. So not only are we raking up the leaves and clearing the ground so that at in bulk we'll be able to, maybe plant some seeds, we're also clearing our internal ground in the fall. So we watch the plants and we watch animals go into their dormancy. And we are asked by nature to do the same thing. We go into hibernation and we become creative. But we're creative not by doing something, but by allowing the settling within ourselves to touch the quiet places, the essences of who we are. And we take a step back from, hopefully, from the busyness of our lives. Now, this is really a very interesting conundrum for some of us because while nature is asking us to hibernate, to go inward, society is saying, okay, let's go. We got to get ready. Now it's Thanksgiving. Now it's Christmas. Now it's Hanukkah. Now it's Kwanzaa, whatever it is. Excuse me. And we're asked to be busy, busy, busy. And so it's a time to consider, can you be in quietude? Can you rest? Can you hibernate and balance the busyness of the season? So that's a big something to consider. We're going to look at a little deeper explanation. This is the season of the year when it's time to let go. It's a time to rest, recover from, excuse me, the labor and the busyness of the year so far, and to slough off anything that is no longer needed. It's a time when, like, take Bear, for example. Bear goes into a cave. Bear tanks up on its food for the winter, goes into cave, and loses weight, loses fat, loses whatever, as what they have internally continues to feed them. And they come down and they come back out a thinner version of themselves. And in some sense, as we go inward, we come out a little thinner, maybe having shed so much of the busyness that has been our life to this point. Now, we have been struggling. We have certainly watched our communities, our country, our world struggle. And I think this is a perfect time for us to share about how we release this struggle that we've been in. And of course, using the trees, knowing when to let go and surrender to the time to release. And some or most of us may think that it's critical to hold on to everything that we have been dealing with for the past 9 or 10 months. The tree trusts that it will get a new and different life when it sheds all these leaves. And what about us? Can we do what the trees do? Can we allow the letting go, the releasing, not just of the struggles, but the things that we hope to improve in the next growing season? And I'd like to know if any of you have anything that you're thinking about that's important for you to surrender to and release in this season of surrender. Is there anything that that's had you in its grip, let's say, that has maybe kept you awake at night or been a block to more of your creativity? Because that's what happens when we get hung up with certain things. It blocks our creativity. So if any of you online have any thoughts about releasing the struggle, what it is that's time for you to release, we'd love to hear from you, please. Tina, you are muted, doll.
I really feel like I need to release attachments to people that don't serve me anymore.
That's huge. That is really huge. And there are ways to do that to leave everybody intact. And I'm sure that you know how to do that, Tina. Is there anything about that process you'd like to share?
I mean, I'm about to go on a trip and I'm going to be a part of time at the beach. And I feel like I have to do like a personal cord cutting with things that don't serve. And so I'm going to try to find a good space because I'm actually also going down to a family reunion. And I think that's a good place because we'll get to stay in my great grandfather's house that he built in the 20s.
Wow.
And then I can go back to what I am and not what other people have wanted me to be or what I've, tried to push myself into being.
That's a beautiful, beautiful thing to release and be stepping really deeply into your authentic self, which is so beautiful. Thank you for sharing. Mary, how about you? Anything that you feel you'd like to release at this point?
Yes, I have. Oh, do you hear me?
Yes, yes.
Good. You can see me also. Hello.
Hi, Kia. Nice to have you online. There you are.
Same to you. I think I need to release that I need to be something more than I already am. I think I should be, it's time that I get content in some way where I am. It doesn't mean that I stop learning new things and doing new things and different things, but I don't have to. I don't have to. I can let it be now.
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful.
I think that's good.
Yes, yes. And sometimes we need to be able to use what we've learned, allow it to really become a part of us and actually take it out, look at it, and make it be a part of yourself. So that's awesome, Kia. And it's very wonderful to see you again.
Mhm.
Okay.
Bonnie, I would say releasing my attachment to busyness. I've given myself the next couple of months to be a lot slower, and it feels very foreign to me, but it feels right.
Yes, Judy, that's fabulous. Thank you so much. Mary, anything you wanted to add, my dear?
Well, I've been thinking a lot lately about my own personal vulnerability. And,
Wow.
and and I'm sure it creeps up with at different times for different people. And so if I'm going to put it in terms of releasing, it would be more for myself that I'm working on releasing the denial that I am vulnerable, because I really do believe for myself that my vulnerability gives me the opportunity to learn and grow. And I'm not sure if that makes sense, but there are lessons on many levels. It's not just, get over it and don't get put in that situation, which is kind of like on the physical level, but I'm looking at different facets of it, the spiritual vulnerability with a situation, not just the physical, so that I'm more clear on the gifts that I receive from it.
Yeah, I've just written some work on vulnerability, so it's very timely, Mary, that you say that. Being vulnerable makes us more approachable. It gives people the space to come closer and to be vulnerable with you as well, so that you get to the heart of who you each are. And vulnerable doesn't mean weak. Matter of fact, I think it takes a very strong person to be willing to be vulnerable, to be willing to say, yeah, I'm a human being and I'm flawed, and that's okay. I think Kia was speaking into the fact that she doesn't feel like she has to do as much anymore, that she can relax a bit into who she is. And when we do that, when we become our authentic self, there are so many lessons, as you were saying, Mary, to finding out who you are and to finding out who others are. So it's a very, very timely piece, Mary. Thank you very much for sharing that. As I listen to all of you, I think, yeah, I need to release that, and I need to release that, and I'll go ahead and release that. And I think I might as well release some fear, some unknown. Generally, I can deal with that okay, but sometimes the unknown kind of taps me on the shoulder. So yeah, this is a great time to really take a few moments, look at that, look at what it is time to release that is no longer serving you. And just I think about it like a weight on my shoulders. And when I release that weight, I feel lighter, and there's more room for my creativity to come forward. There's more room for love to step forward and be more of who I am, because that's really important to me, to be loving and kind. And when I am in some of those other states, I don't have access to that as much. So, any other comments anybody wants to share? That was all good stuff, everyone. Thank you so much for being willing to open to that. So we're talking about going into kind of a state of hibernation. And we're heading into the darker months of the year. It's a time when we have to face our own darkness. Only through self-reflection can we battle our demons. As the sun disappears earlier and earlier, we feel natural energy, the natural energy it provides also fading. So thinking about a darker time and that inward journey can be a little scary to some people. But I think it's important to look at this time as being a sort of spiritual harvest. And have we prepared our spirit for the months ahead? We need to be ready to face whatever negative energies and emotions may appear from the shadows during this time. Luckily, our angels are always prepared to give us a hand. This is a great time. I think of this time of the year as kind of like the attic of your life. And if you go up to the attic with a flashlight and you shine the flashlight into the corners, you begin to see that there are things that can be cleared that don't seem as challenging when the light is poured on them. Does that make sense? That sometimes the things that we consider to be the biggest challenges maybe are not so much when we move into the darker time of the year, but we look at those parts of ourselves that we have left in the darkness. So we're going to look at this now from a position of balancing the elements. This is a great way as we look at this time of year, this is a great way to figure out what needs to be done. What do you need to do to make this time more meaningful rather than just, I don't know, sitting without, and that's important too. It's important to sit without motivation, without intention. And when we need a break from that, because sometimes that can bring up sadness, it can bring up a little depression. We want to have something to energize us. And so if we look at balancing the elements, it gives us something to focus on and to register with, to embrace, if you will, so that this time is really meaningful. So we're going to balance Earth. We want to look at rest and activity. That's a really important one because I mentioned before, what happens at this time of year? Mother Nature says, oh, go hibernate, go rest, go into the cave, whatever it may be. And societally, it's like, oh my gosh, we got to get ready for Thanksgiving. And then it's Christmas shopping. And then it's, holiday get together. And then. And so if you do nothing else this year at this time, consider how you're going to work these cycles, how you're going to rest and how you're going to be active when you're going to work and when you're going to play. And of course, looking at the wheel of the year. And actually, if you take the wheel of the year, sketch yourself a circle and put in the solstices, the equinoxes, the cross quarter days, and see what each of those has meant to you. Really look at the wheel of the year and say, well, in Imbolc, these are the seeds that I planted. And then at spring equinox, maybe I fertilized. And I'm talking about this figuratively as well as actually, and really analyze how the year has been for you. And then honoring Earth would be to take special care of your body and your soul, particularly your body, doing whatever you can to give it comfort, peace. Maybe it's time for a massage. Maybe it's time to find light exercise. Maybe it's time to look at a different way of eating. But all of these things go into this particular time of the year when you have an opportunity to really assess and figure out what's important. It's a time to tend the soil of the earth by doing what is necessary to clear out the old, so that in the spring and the summer you will reap a wonderful harvest. But it's also a time to tend the soil of your body. Really see what you can do to help yourself. So anybody else have any ideas on how to honor Earth at this time of year? What will you do to honor Earth? Which includes your body, your home, your car, anything in the physical realm.
Well, I want to keep up my pattern. I've been doing walking each day, and I'm trying to eat more vegetables. But also I've been, and this has been ongoing since my father died, and I collected more stuff. But over the winter, I really want to get a handle of on everything, and kind of review what I do and don't need, and pare my house down to what serves me now, not when I moved here when I was in my 20s.
That's awesome. That's a super time to do that. Yeah. Thanks, Tina. Okay. Anyone else?
I'm going to ditto what Tina talked about, because I've already started going through things that I haven't used in 20, 30 years. And some of it is some of my spiritual stuff, but invariably when just recently, when I decided to let go of two things in particular, immediately I had 2 people to gift them to that can benefit. So it's acting as a blessing for me and for someone else by doing that, and I'm getting a personal reward from that.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful, Mary. Thank you. I hear you, especially about spiritual items that have served me in the past, that I hope they can be a talisman for someone else. And I know that they served me well, so I will hope they would serve someone else well. Thanks, Mary.
You're welcome.
I have been very busy in the basement during 2 months and sorting things out. And the rest of the house is just not so in order as I want it to be. So I think I am on it already to make that happen too. But another thing is that my body really needs caring. And I've been thinking that I'm going to get up early when the light comes, so I can be out with the light. And I have some really good help with that, because I have bought myself 2 hens. So they want to come out early.
Okay.
I have to open for them.
Have you named them?
They had names already when I got them. It's 2 different. One is very brown and one is white and thin and looks almost like a cock, but she's a hen. And
Sweet.
she's Eden. And the other one is brown and thick. She's Alfrida.
Oh, I love it. That's great.
Yeah.
Thanks
So
for
that's one
sharing.
thing. I need to be out in the air, in the light, and also moving, but not working so much. Just be
Mhm.
there. Mm.
Perfect. Perfect. Thanks, Kia.
Yeah, I started a ritual of going through this program where in the morning I walk, and it includes doing breathing and gratitudes and visualization and incantations. And I did it through my last vacation, and I just make myself get up and do it, and it starts my day off much better.
Awesome, Tina. Thank you. I think you all are ahead of the game. Wonderful. Okay, balancing water. And this is a time of year that you may find your emotions all over the place. I mean, here we are, Samhain and the Day of the Dead, and honoring, and there may be some sadness along with that. But it's also holiday time, and there may be get-togethers where you share beautiful experiences. Uh, you maybe get to be with family, and the flow of emotion can be very great. And so, as we're kind of taking care of ourselves, we may want to watch our emotions ebb and flow. They're going to move with whatever is happening. And I think it's important to understand that whatever you are feeling at any time during this holiday season is all right. And to be with it. I think we all know that the best way to get through an emotion is through it. Sometimes holidays may bring up memories that grab at your heart. And it's helpful to be able to find the joy in some of those experiences, some of them not. But if you find yourself in a time when it's more challenging, by all means, honor yourself. Maybe you want to take yourself out of whatever activity is going on and just be with yourself and honor whatever it is that you're feeling. The emotions run the gamut at this time of year. There's no doubt about it. And the more we can flow, the easier it will be to get through some of those more challenging moments. And for goodness sakes, take time to play, whatever that means to you. And I'm just curious if you might tell me what do you like to do that's play in the wintertime? Just curious.
For me, anytime, I just like to explore the woods, and you can see and I have a friend who lives across the swamp from me and has 80 acres, and we've been walking through the woods and actually found this app that tracks your path, and you can put different markers like here's the big tree, and so that's been really interesting to do.
Thank you. Anybody else? I love to go to the movies, and this is the time of year that the best movies come out because they're all looking to get Academy Awards. And so I will play at the movies, and a good many of them are on streaming services too. So that'll be my play. Anybody else?
I have friends that I play cards with that I need to invite over.
Cool. Very cool. So if you don't have anything in mind that's fun, I want your invitation is to find something that's really fun for you at this season of the year, whatever it is. And it's perfect. Okay, balancing air. So air is the mental realm. And it's time maybe to start reviewing your intentions versus your goals. And those of you who know me know that I talk about the difference between intention and goal, and that the goal keeps us centered on an end point, and we often miss the periphery of what's happening around us, whereas an intention opens us to a wider array of possibilities, if you will. And so I'm a firm believer in intention. And perhaps this is a great time to review yours. Pull out some of your journals and things maybe from the beginning of the year or from classes you've taken, and see what your intention was and see where it's taken you. It's a great time to be journaling, to be finishing up perhaps a written project, and to use your imagination. So I love the quote that imagination and logic put together is where the magic begins. So think about that. Imagination along with logic, and magic happens. Any comments or questions about air, about using your thoughts at this time of the year?
Well, let's have a kind of a scenario, but for example, and I hadn't really thought about it that way, because when I get ready to birth something new, imagination and logic, I don't really think about all the time I take just having that thought and coming up with a creative process in my mind for some time. And it might be 6 months. And then the birthing is like all of a sudden, boom, here it goes. And I guess this is a good time of year for that. I hadn't even really kind of put that together, but I'm one of these people that I just don't say, well, all right, somebody told me this is a great idea, so boom, I'm off to it the next day. I ponder it and really feel whether I believe it's something that's going to be good for me
Mm,
to experience.
awesome. Thanks, Mary. Anyone else?
Well, as part of my morning walk, one section is a visualization thing about thinking about what I want to create and what I want to come into my life. And I've been doing a lot of that, and trying to figure out how I want, I just feel like I'm at a transition point into adulthood, even though supposedly I'm an adult now, but yeah. And so I just, I'm thinking about, what do I want around me? I've been, creating a garden down in my floodplain, and that's been great. And thinking ahead to adding more planting beds, which I can do over the winter, because I have to kind of like cardboard and mulch the swamp grass back, but it's actually worked really well, and I didn't need to water any of my plants once they were rooted, because they were in the water table. And so that's one of my biggest things that I'm, as far as moving forward, and my health, and exercise and nutrition. And so I've been thinking a lot about who do I want to become.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Thanks, Tina.
If I may, I just want to make a comment. I might need to come take some lessons from Tina.
I know. That's awesome. Yeah, you all are sparking some thoughts for me too. Okay. So balancing fire. Isn't our fire amazing? Our chi that we run in our bodies. And to honor fire at this time of the year, we've got to know when to stop. We really do. Because it's a time of the year that the body doesn't want to do quite as much as it does in the warmer climates. So, it's honoring the cycles of day and night too. When we run our chi, when we run our energy, how long can you do it without burning out? And if this isn't the time of year to recuperate that, to rest that chi, when would it be the right time? Now, that doesn't mean that we put our fire out completely, because you can get plenty of heat from an ember. You can get plenty of heat from a spark. But it's the idea that you manage your fire at this time of year so that you have enough to get you through the cold, through the dark, through whatever you face at this time of year. So keeping that in mind, balancing spirit. And I think that each of you has touched on something very important about this time of the year, where you're embodying spirit and practicing your spirituality through your thoughts, through your intentions, through the way you are caring for your body, the way you are caring for your mind. Spirit would not ask more of us than that, because we are the sacred vessels that Spirit has granted us. And if we can embody that at this time of the year, we will be honoring Spirit, however you define it, whatever is the God of your understanding. You will definitely be balancing Spirit. So, any comments, either about fire or bringing Spirit into this time of the year?
What I'm thinking about is, I have my swamp down there, and I looked it up. And Anthea is the goddess of the swamp, but she's one of the three graces, which I never knew individual ones. And I've been so busy, I haven't been able to have time to sit down and kind of study her. And but I've named my spot down there with, that I've been creating. I've got water down there and electricity now, and I've named it Anthea's Oasis.
Oh, how beautiful. How did you run power? You ran power yourself?
Yeah, I ended up I have an outdoor socket on my house, and I got underground feeder wire. It's not buried right now, and I just put at the other end of socket, a GFCI outlet that so I can plug stuff in and it can stay wet, and it plugs into the thing on the outside of my house. I had to get the right thing to angle it so I can close that cover. So it's outdoor wire, and I may at some point bury it. It may get buried by the leaves. And I did the same thing with water, so I could have potable water, and I put a sink down there, and I wanted it to be potable and me to be able to drink in it, not go through a hose. So I got PEX tubing, and it's been my project, kind of creating Anthea's Oasis.
Fabulous. Well, you balanced some water and some fire in there, didn't you?
Yeah, that. And I also have a fire pit down there too. So.
Oh my goodness. Beautiful, beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing that, Tina. I think you're an inspiration for sure. So when we complete the call, I'd like you to take a few more minutes beyond this time. Where do you feel balanced? Where do you feel like you're really rocking it? What's happening that's moving you forward? And then where do you feel out of balance? And why do you think you are out of balance in that area? And give yourself one action item to bring things back into alignment. So while we're still together, can you think of one thing, one area where you're out of balance, and one action item that you can do to bring yourself back into alignment? Just jot down a note about what that area is. I don't want you to forget about that. You can move some energy around that to give yourself more inner space, be better connected to your essence. And if you want to share what that is, be brave and do so.
I need
I
to,
think
sorry, I need to recommit to moving my body in a healthy way, stretching, exercising, really committing to that on my calendar. I have some physical therapy stuff that I do every day without fail, but I need more of a commitment to body care.
Thank you for speaking my heart, Judy. That's definitely up for me, for sure.
one thing for me that I feel like is out of balance is I feel like people that I've had relationships with, I feel like we're not necessarily on the same path anymore. And so I'm actually trying to search out and cultivate relationships with people that are more earth spiritual, just in line with how I think. And actually on the way down to Florida, I'm meeting with a guy that I've been talking to that I met at a festival, and he does a lot of gardening and stuff. And so I've just been trying to connect with people who are kind of nature spirituality people.
Awesome.
Because I feel like a lot of my other relationships, it's just we don't have a lot in common or can't talk about anything deeply.
Understood. Understood. Well, I love that you've already put into motion taking a step to change that by meeting with this person. I think once you begin to reach out and that goes to the vulnerability that Mary was talking about, being open to what other people have to give is crucially important to your growth and to your experience of creativity, if you will. Because people give you all kinds of ideas. I mean, I'm just listening to you all, and I've gotten, I'm over here scribbling down notes. So I thank each of you for that. Anyone else want to share? Okay.
I think Sia's talking, but she's on mute.
Oh, okay.
There, no. It didn't work here. I think about that. I give a lot of my time to other people, and I help them a lot. And sometimes it's too much for me. I forget myself. So I need to balance and really make it clear for myself that I need to be by myself to find out what I need too.
Absolutely, absolutely. And how can you do that, Kia? I mean, will you schedule? Judy was talking about scheduling time to do her exercise. Would you schedule time to have just Kia time?
I think that's very good if I do that. Yes.
Yeah. I call it white space, and I will put a block of white space in my calendar.
Mhm. I
Doesn't
think I
always
need,
get to stay there, but
yeah, I think I need some hour every day that I know this is for me, and no one else can take it, or I don't give it away.
Beautiful.
That's kind of what I'm doing with my walk in the morning, and with the breathing, and I'm just like, I'm gonna get up and I'm gonna do that, and that's my hour, and that's when I do gratitudes and visualizations and think about what I want to create in my life, and um how I want to feel,
Mm.
and I've stuck to it even through my vacation. I did the same thing, just got up and went and walked on the beach, and
Sounds great, Tina. Wow.
Fabulous. Okay. My little slide is not wanting to move right now. Okay. Honoring the coming months. These are all the things that we've been talking about. And I think you all have covered them nicely, really nicely. The only thing I would add to what you've already been saying is prayer. Many of us live our lives as a prayer. And just to consciously add prayer, to make that connection, whatever it is, to whatever is the God of your understanding, which may be nature, it may be a traditional God, it may be goddess, nature, all that is, creator. So to take time to make that connection, because it is in co-creation with that higher power that we find our most beautiful and meaningful creativity. So I would just ask you to consider your spiritual life. We talked about spirituality, and consider these words. And Tina, you talked about expressing gratitude, which is a beautiful prayer. If you have not added prayer in your life, this might be a good time to do it. So just to throw that in the mix. I am so excited, y'all. Today is the day that I'm launching Your Spectacular and Courageous Legacy. This is a program I've been working on for several years. I've taught it in person, but I've finally committed it to 20 sessions of somewhere between 12 and 20 minutes apiece to help create the kind of legacy that you dream about leaving behind. And I say that whether you have children or not, you are leaving a legacy. And there's so many things, people think about a legacy and they think, well, I'm going to leave money or I'm going to leave property. There is so much more to your legacy than just money or property. And this is a step-by-step guide. Yes, it will take you through all your legal documents and the things that you have to commit to before you pass, but there's so much more. It's about connecting through love, through compassion. It's about having difficult conversations with people about end-of-life issues. It's about how you plan for so many things along the way. And what do you leave behind to make it easier for those who live after you? What is it that you want in the last days and months of your life? How do you talk to someone who's in the last stages of their life? It's just full of content and such important information. And I recommend it for anyone who has not delved into their world of legacy, has not really considered all that they have to leave behind, because each person, no matter how long you have lived, has so much to give, to leave to future generations. So it's up on the Wise Transformation website. and you can get more information there. But I'm definitely excited and hope that you might recommend this if you have, if you've already done all your legacy work, maybe recommend it to someone in your family or a dear friend who has not and who has maybe is fearful about doing that work, because it is a courageous thing to do to plan your legacy. And that's why it's got that word courageous in there. Taking a look at end of life issues is, as they say, not for sissies. And it may not be as daunting as some people think it is. So I just encourage everybody to look at the Wise Transformation website and see if legacy speaks to you. Okay, how are we doing? Oh, timing is right on. So closing sacred space. Thank you all for being here. Thank you for sharing your incredible wisdom with all of us. You are so wise. I think you each have a beautiful plan of going forward into this season of the year and experiencing all the gifts that it has to give. So on behalf of Judy and myself, you can reach us at Wise Transformation. And we are always here to support you. We are here for your questions. I think you're obviously all on our mailing list, but if you have others who would benefit from Judy's fabulous full and new moon sessions for our equinox, solstice, and cross quarter day ceremonies, please share our website with them. Thank you all. Many blessings, and may this be a peaceful and joyous time for you.
Thank you so much, Bonnie.
Thank you. Good to see everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you, Bonnie.
Thank you.